Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our event, a joint event between the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, or ERIA, and Vietnam Administration of Seas and Islands, or VASI. I would like to also welcome the Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen who are attending this event from VASI headquarters in Hanoi, Vietnam. My name is Ellen Putredita, and I'm a research associate at ERIA's Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris, or RKC-MPD, and I will be your MC and co-moderator for today. This webinar is the part of our online event series called ASEAN +3 Private Sector Initiatives to Reduce Marine Plastics, which is an attempt to promote private companies whose business activities is to combat this issue. The theme for today's webinar is Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR, for plastics in Vietnam, Challenges and Opportunities. This will be an occasion for the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Vietnam, Vietnamese Business Alliance, and private companies, as well as international companies that operate in Vietnam, to showcase their progress and discuss many ways private companies can help us to contribute to combat this issue, especially taking into the consideration the new EPR scheme. We do hope to have a very engaging discussion this morning, so this is why we encourage all the participants to drop their questions or comments in the Q&A box. Please do not use the chat box because it will be buried. Also, please be mindful that we provide Vietnamese and English translation in this webinar. So if you need an interpreter, just click the interpretation button in the right part of your screen. Also, just a quick reminder for everyone that we will be muting everyone on Zoom, and we will only be activating the microphone for our speakers later this morning. All right, before we proceed to our discussion this morning, we would like to hear a few words from our organizers for today's event. It is my great pleasure to invite Mr. Michikazu Kojima, the Senior Advisor to the President on Environmental Issues at ERIA, to deliver his opening remarks. Over to you, Kojima-san.
Thank you for kind introduction. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, first allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, and more particularly to the Vietnam Administration of Sea and Islands, VASI, for co-hosting this online event with us. As a representative of the Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris of ERIA, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Han-san, Deputy Director General of VASI. My special thanks also go to Mr. Nguyen T, Principal Official of the Department of Legal Affairs of MONRE, Mr. Fausto Tassi, Vice President of Vietnam Packaging Recycling Alliance, PRO Vietnam, Mr. Long Nguyen, Deputy CEO of Anfat Holdings, Mr. Ekasit Lakanani T. Phan, the President of DAO Vietnam, and Mr. Hideki Wada, Director of Vietnam Waste Planning Company, for agreeing to lend your time and insight in this event. It is my pleasure to welcome our audience to this event entitled EPR for Plastics in Vietnam, Challenges and Opportunities. To give you a bit of background about who we are, the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, with the financial assistance of Japanese government and the support of the ASEAN leaders, established the Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris in 2019. We have a mandate to be information clearinghouse on marine plastic debris in the ASEAN +3 countries to support ways to address these pressing environmental challenges. However, plastic waste is a multi-sectoral issue, which involves policymakers, private sectors, consumers, researchers alike, in order to find comprehensive solutions. One of the main stakeholders in eliminating marine plastic debris is the private sectors, which has many potentials to innovate new technologies and be the driving force behind consumer behavioral change. Vietnamese government revised environmental protection law in 2020, which applies extended producer responsibility to various recyclable waste. Government and private sectors are preparing the transition toward a circular economy for plastics based on EPR. I hope in this event we can learn on the status of preparation of EPR implementation in Vietnam from the government representatives, private companies, and experts. Some other countries in Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, are also in the process of introducing EPR. In this event, audiences are coming not only from Vietnam, but also from many other Southeast Asian countries. I hope this will be an occasion where we can learn from each other's experience on how to successfully introduce EPR system for plastics interregionally. To finish my work, I would like to thank our speakers once more and welcome all the audience registered from 27 different countries, including 11 from the 13 ASEAN plus 3 member states. I hope you enjoy today's event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kojima-san, for the insightful remarks. Now allow me to introduce the Deputy Director General of VASI, Ms. Pham Thu Hằng, to say a few words. Ms. Hằng, the floor is yours.
Kính thưa ông Michikazu Kusuma, tư vấn cao cấp Viện Nghiên cứu Kinh tế ASEAN, ông Fausto Taji, Phó Chủ tịch Liên minh Tái chế bao bì Việt Nam, ông Nguyễn Ngọc Sang, Chủ tịch Hội Bao bì Việt Nam. Thưa các quý vị đại biểu, là đại diện các bộ, ngành liên quan, các địa phương ven biển và các tổ chức doanh nghiệp, Trung tâm kiến thức khu vực về rác thải nhựa biển thuộc Viện Nghiên cứu Kinh tế ASEAN và Đông Á. Trên toàn cầu đã có nhiều nỗ lực nhằm giảm thiểu rác thải nhựa nói chung và rác thải nhựa biển nói riêng với nhiều hình thức.
Plastic waste and waste in general in different forms. At local level, the ASEAN Regional Plan on Marine Plastic Debris was issued in 2021. The Vietnamese government also issued the National Action Plan to 2030 from a Prime Minister decisions in 2019. And we have been trying our best along with other countries to reduce marine plastic debris with other countries. In Vietnam, EPR has been stated in the Law on Environmental Protection 2020, valid from January 2022, and will affect the production activities. This has been a regulations to extend the responsibility. This mechanisms has been since 1990 to recover products packaged to protect the environment and develop the economy. According to the EPR principle, producer will not only take responsibility of products, but also take responsibility to the face of exhausting them. How do we make this work? These will be challenges for Vietnam and other countries. If this is done right, EPR will help us close the loop of the input material and the waste So in order to promote EPR, VASI and the ERIA co-host the event, EPR in Vietnam Challenges and Opportunities. This is an opportunity for authority, business, and NGO to introduce the progress so as to join hands against the marine plastic debris. We will try our best, and I would like to announce the opening of the workshop today. May the best be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hang, for the warm welcome to our listeners this morning. And now we are proceeding to our panel discussion for today. And before we start, I would like to introduce Dr. Nguyen Hang, who will be the moderator of this session. Dr. Hang is the Deputy Director of Department of Science, Technology, and International Cooperation from VASI. And she has PhD in environmental health in Japan, and she has been working at VASI since 2020, and now she is in charge of international cooperation with the US, Asia, and Australia. Dr. Hang, over to you.
Xin cảm ơn. Tôi hôm nay rất vinh dự được đóng cái vai trò.
I am glad to be the moderator of today's discussion. So I would like to introduce some of our activities, as I'm the focal point on the projects from ADB and other projects activity, CCBO, USAID, some other activities, building in marine plastic monitoring, sponsored by the Japanese government. So we look forward VASI and the ERIA will have more progress in further cooperation. So let us start. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Nguyen. Yes. Officials who has been an EPR veteran. Mr. T has many articles on EPR development in Vietnam. Mr. T, the presentation, the stage is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce on the EPR implementation in Vietnam. So you know, GIZ has joined hand with VASI on a workshop. There, I have a good presentation, many details from the start. Yes. So I will have many informations on the challenges. So you know, EPR has been in Vietnam very early, to 2005. So there has been statement on recovering the products. And circular economy is also an early product since 1998. Vietnam in their promotion industrialization. And through many resolutions and policies, the MONRE has the regulations on circular economy and EPR, and a lot of other regulations on this agenda. So as I have mentioned before, EPR has been implemented since 2005, but even to 2020, the voluntary notions of the private sector renders its uselessness. So, to 2020, or even to 2022, EPR has started to become a mandatory, obligatory phase. So this is the current EPR system in Vietnam. with the MONRE being the authority, the EPR National Council deciding on the budget allocation from the private sector and stakeholders. EPR, there are two kinds of responsibility, is the recycle and the financial contribution. So the private sector will have options. So this is the responsibility of the 6. First one, the package is a newly added one to the requirement for environmental protection. With the other 5 has been since 2005. You see the pathway. You see for the package, the battery, the lubricant, oil, tire, electrical products, and transport vessel. All this shall be recovered and recycled. In case they have not been able to do the recycle, they could choose to pay. This is the responsibility of the persistent or the hazardous one. The producer pay for the Viet Nam Environmental Protection Fund to support these recycle activities. Pesticide, disposable battery, gum, diapers, cigarettes, disposable plastic fiber. That they have only one option to pay is different from their choose to recycle. Producer could choose either to recycle or to pay. But this is too ordinary package. So the impact with the waste management in Vietnam, first of all, it affects the beginning and the end of the cycle. So EPR impacts the producer and the recycle, which means it's both ends. On the other hand, EPR does not directly regulate the collection. So we couldn't find any regulations on recycle regarding EPR. However, EPR still regulates that the local authority will support the recycle to do their job. EPR regulates on the each producer must increase the demand for recycle and collection. As we all know, the highest rate of recycle for plastic PEP is 22%. So each 3 years will increase the rate. So the demand will increase. So the rate will increase, but in an industrial manner, modern manner. In Vietnam, the collections from the unofficial collector is still very sparsely located. So EPR will impact them and create organizers, recyclers in a more professional manner. So the mandatory recycle regulation, they force them to in a certain form and a certain rate. So this will impact technology, forcing them to change in a modern way. EPR also has regulations on the segregation in the form of money, so that organizers and individuals will have budget for their activities, segregations, and recycle. So the challenges in Vietnam, EPR in Vietnam has been around for a long time, 16 years, but mostly in the voluntary. But according to the new law, they must make two criteria about the rate. So there will be confusions. So since the January 1st of 2020, producer must pay to the Environmental Protection Fund. So yesterday was the last day, the deadline for them to list out the products and pay. And the deadline for payment is April 20th. So in the previous, many producer contact MONRE, and we have to make detailed guideline on this payment. We have detailed guideline on the EPR portal in Vietnam, and the FAQ on EPR is also stated so that the producer could act easier. About the authority, challenges is establishment an agency to implement EPR. But this is a three parties council. It's planned to locate it in MONRE. But to our research, EPR should be operated individually, separately, with capacity. But the current authority for EPR is still limited in terms of capacity. So we'll have methods to change. Also, the source segregation's capacity in Vietnam and behavior is still very low. Regulations in the source segregation in Vietnam has been since 1993, but it's not clear. Even to 2020, it still lacks many details and is still based in the localities. No localities have clear efforts on this. Now, the local government have to take actions. It's a challenge. If they fail on collecting the payment, then there shall be many difficulties because most packages is found in the domestic waste, solid domestic waste. This challenge is relevant to the re-establishment of Urenco, a large sum of money for the all provinces to take this. So what is the requirements, future requirements for EPR? If it is necessary to implement source segregation, PPP, public-private partnership in localities. This is something relevant to the PPP. EPR will also support the localities to do the PPP. EPR there should be an inter-provincial, inter-regional plan. And this factory must be central and focused. There should be a regional planning on the regulation, collections, and recycle. Straighten out the strength of each regions, and there should be a guideline on classification, segregations, collections, treatment for each type of package, and there should be participations of parties to carry out sorting, collection. This is my point. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mr. T. In today's agenda, we have Mr. T, representative of the authority, and after Mr. T, there shall be representatives of group. So, Mr. Fausto Tazi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And I would like to, first of all, thank the Vietnam administration of CN Island and the Economic Research Institute for Asia and East Asia for inviting me to have a speech in this workshop. And I would also like to thank our good partners and friends of Ministry of Natural Resources of Environment for being here. Thank you so much. I will share my screen and I will tell you very quickly about the private sector vision on the sorry, I'm just trying to put it full screen. I hope you can see about the private sector vision about the law on extended producer responsibility that Mr. T has well explained just now. First of all, PRO Vietnam is a voluntary association of 19 companies, Vietnamese company and multinational company that has been founded 3 years ago in 2019, and that is cooperating with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. And in particular, we have been coordinating what is called the National Packaging Industry Group, that is the voice of the private sector in the preparation of the extended producer responsibility decree for the packaging. And I would also like to take the opportunity to deeply show gratitude to MONRE for having listened our recommendation into the formulation of the EPR decree. This is the list of the companies which are participating as a member of PRO Vietnam. I will not read all of them, but you see that there can be Vietnamese company, international company. There are companies which are selling product. There are companies which are producing packagings like SIG or Tetra Pak. And there are also companies which are retailers, which are clearly very interested into the activity of PRO Vietnam. The objective of PRO Vietnam is very simple. By 2030, we want to transform the linear packaging economy into a circular packaging economy, and recovering our packaging, or recovering the packaging that our companies are putting into the market for producing new packagings. For doing this, we have been studying many different models of PROs, of packaging recycling organization, both in let's call developed country like the European Union or the USA, and also in developing country like South Africa or like Mexico. And we have seen that this achievement is possible. This is an example of two countries that we can also take a little bit like similar to the Vietnamese situation today. We see how South Africa and Mexico during the year, they have been able to increase their packaging recycling from almost nothing, 9–10%, to 65–70%. This is very important. I just would like to underline 2 points. It doesn't happen overnight. We need to be patient because it took from 2003 to 2018 to this country to reach 60%. So it's 15 years. It's not a rush, it's a marathon. And it's happening little by little. So there is no golden thing that we can do. It's not because we make a law that all of a sudden everything will be collected and recycled, because we will need also to create the infrastructure. for the application of this law. PRO Vietnam has a strategy. This strategy is very clear. We need to work on 3 levels. The first level is communication to make the Vietnamese population aware of the need to segregate and separate their waste between recyclable waste and non-recyclable waste. The second level is what we call access. So once the family and the company are segregating the waste, we need to have the right collection of waste. So it should not be put all back together again. So there are infrastructure to be created. And the third level is recycling, creating the capacity into some recycling material producers, recycled plastic, recycled paper, to increase the capacity to manage all the flow of waste that has to be recycled. But what is very important, if you see the timing, I mean, we cannot push recycling if there is no access to segregated waste. And we cannot have access to segregated waste if the individuals, the families, and the company will not start to segregate at the source. So we cannot work starting from the tail. We need to start from the head. And that's what we are doing. We have 3 recommendations that we would like to share. And I mean, it's not new to the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment. We are discussing since a long time about this, and we all agree. But I would like to share with all the participants to this workshop 3 recommendations that we are giving as private companies, so as private sector. The first one, we know very much, private company knows very much about technologies, how to collect, how to recycle, and this is a huge technical know-how that we strongly invite to leverage, because the system of the EPR need to work technically. It is not only a matter of putting a fee or communicating to the population. There are very complicated technical part to ensure that once we collect, we can really segregate and we can really recycle. And the one who knows best this are the company, like some companies that are participating to PRO Vietnam, which are the recycler, or this work has been done also in cooperation with the Vietnam Plastic Association, which knows very well how to collect and how to recycle plastic. The second recommendation is the role of the government, the role of the authorities. It is very important because the EPR fee is going to clearly hit into the profit of the company, and it is absolutely important that we are ensuring a level playing field. When we talk about level playing field, we mean that we need to make sure that the rule will be applied in a fair way to all the companies. We cannot have a part of the market which will not be touched, either because they are small companies or either because they are in some geographies, etc. Because actually this is gonna change, the EPR fee is gonna change the price structure and the competitive structure of the market. And we need to make sure that all the company that will play the EPR game, they will really play the game and they will not try to avoid it. And the third point, as I was saying at the beginning, we need time. Also, country which had a fantastic result like Mexico, they took 15 years. So we keep on recommending, we cannot think that we are gonna move from 8% recycling to 25% recycling in 3 years. It will take time because we need to build all together all the infrastructure that are needed for the recycling. So it's not only a matter of putting a tax and putting some money on the table, it's really a matter also of making this money useful. Just to give you an example, in PRO Vietnam, we are collecting money from the 19 companies which are participating. In this moment, our problem is not having money. We have more money than what we need. Our problem is that we have difficulty in investing the money that we collect because there are not yet enough activities to be invested and to increase the rate of collection for recycling of our packaging. So we need time. And unfortunately, we need to say that if we already needed time in general to set up this structure, after the COVID pandemic, we will need even a little bit more time because the impact on the economy and also the impact on the on-field activity has been very strong. So our ambition when we founded this coalition in 2019 today is not already matched. But the main reason why it is not already matched is because in 2020 and in 2021, we have not been able to be on field and to increase collection and to increase capacity. So these are the three big points that we would like to put to the attention to all the participants when you will start preparing the implementation on EPR system into your countries. And say that, I think that it's enough. It's already a lot of information. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and I will be available for questions.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn ông Fausto. Liên minh tái chế bao bì Việt Nam là một cái
Viet Nam is a organizations who have been supporting us in EPR implementation. Yesterday, when I discussed with ADB on workshops on a source to see marine plastic debris, and there's experience sharings, I have received concerns and sharings from Thailand on EPR implementation. So I look forward to further cooperations in the future. So, Mr. Nguyen Long from Anfat Holdings. In Mr. Long, I hope you can share information or assessment on the biodegradable plastic products are. Can you tell if it's 100% disposable or just partially biodegradable? Mr. Long, please, the stage is yours. Thank you, Ms. Hằng.
So my presentation will be in English. So first of all, I would like to introduce by myself. My name is Long Nguyen, Deputy CEO of Anfat Holdings and in charge of the sustainable strategy of the group. So today I would like to share with you about our vision for the sustainability strategy of a private company toward a circular economy. In this presentation, I would like to introduce first about Anfat Holding, and then about the challenge and practice of EPR, and last about Anfat strategy towards a circular economy. First is about Anfat Holdings. I will call EPR for the short name. EPR vision is to become the leading group in the high technology and environment friendly plastic in Southeast Asia, with the mission to promote and support Vietnam plastic industry to enhance the image of the high-tech and environment-friendly made in Vietnam plastic product. And EPR focus on the 6 business segments, of which biodegradable products are the key strategy for the development. Our products are successfully commercialized in Vietnam and other developed countries in Europe, North America, and other regions. Anfat Holding have 2 manufacturing sites located in Vietnam and 1 in Korea, with a total of 16 plants, together with 2 R&D centers. Our product has been exported to 70 countries in Europe, USA, and more. In the role of plastic manufacturer, we are also responsibility for the plastic waste and also attempt in fighting over this issue. As explained by Mr. T in the previous presentation, extended producer responsibility is considered a key initiative to tackle some of this issue, in which EPR is explained as a practice and the policy approach in which producer take responsibility for management of the disposal of the products they produce once those products are designed as no longer useful by consumer, therefore contributing to the circular economy. For EPR, for Anfat Holdings, it is like 2 sides of the coin. We consider EPR, which act as a policy tool, which help us to be more responsible for our product regarding both challenge and opportunity. For the challenge, we can have a lack of proper sort and recycle facility, an unclear and overlapping role among stakeholders, lack of transparency in the comparability of data and fee on waste, and competition in market and eco-friendly product. But it's also an opportunity for in enterprise, such as EPR enable responsible consumption and production of the sustainable and eco-friendly product, and also EPR enable local production and independence of resource, etc. For UNFAT holding strategy, to promote EPR effectively, we determine several solutions, which including optimize the product towards sustainable and green by taking full advantage of 3R in manufacturing to reduce the waste, post-processing as much as possible by reusing and recycling, self-supply of raw material so that we can independent and of imported material and more sustainable. We also follow the international standard for globalization of the product and the market. And we choose a transition towards a compostable and biodegradable product to reduce the negative impact on the environment. So what is a compostable product? A compostable plastic? Yeah. In fact, it is also a plastic, but it's not like other product. This biodegradable and compostable plastic can be 100% biodegrade into the humus, CO2, and water. And unlike conventional one, which produce microplastic and which very harmful to the living world and recently haven't been found in the human blood. As you can see on the screen, we are showing the compostable plastic can also disappear in the soil and where the plant can grow. What we can share more with you, in fact, according to the Breaking Plastic Wave report in 2020 by Ellen MacArthur Foundation, there will be a 5 scenario to develop to estimate to reduce the plastic waste in the world. And it including reduce, substitute, recycling, disposing. Each intervention had its own strength and weakness. And for UNFAT Holdings, our strategy is to focus on the substitute intervention by manufacturing the biodegradable and compostable product. For the substitute of such product, which impossible for collecting, sorting, or recycling. Among many biodegradable products that UNFAT Holding can produce, we are currently commercializing successfully our marine biodegradable straw, biodegradable fishing net, fishing gear, and compostable single-use products such as shopping bag, cutlery, straw, and stirrer. All of those products are certified with international standard for compostable product and also for a safety product, which will not harmful to the environment. And those certification come from the Europe, USA, Korea, and Australia. In manufacturing process, one of the most important factors is to supply the supply capacity of the raw material. Seeing the need of the biodegradable market, UNFAT Holding has acquired a factory in Korea of compostable raw material with a capacity of 5,000 tons per year. Currently, we have an ongoing project to build a scale-up manufacturing plant of compostable resin, PBAT, with the capacity of 30,000 tons per year in Hải Phòng, Vietnam, and it expected to launch in 2024. We believe that the project can contribute to our effort to reduce the plastic waste problem in Vietnam and in Asia. So that is all of my presentation today. Thank you for your attention.
Xin cảm ơn ông Nguyễn Long.
Thank you, Mr. Long Nguyen. Coming up, the president of the DAO Vietnam, Mr. RKC-MPD and Titifa. The
Thanks.
stage
Hope you
is
can hear
yours.
me well. I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, you can see your screen. Thank you.
Duplicate this one. Okay, this one is better. So good morning, everyone. And first of all, thanks VASI, ERIA for inviting DAO to join this session. It's really good opportunity to us to meet all of you because we are seeing the same thing, trying to drive Vietnam toward the zero plastic waste environment, right? At DAO, we commit so much to create sustainable future. But before I continue my slide, right, let me have a very brief overview of who is DAO. So DAO is actually a US company. We have headquarters in the US, right? We have in total about 35,000 employees all around the world, right? In 31 countries. In terms of corporate mission, we want to be the most innovative, customer-centered, inclusive, and also the last one, which is really important for the session today, is we want to be also the most sustainable material provider in the world, right? In terms of the sustainable strategy for DAO, we focus on three things. Not only on plastic waste, right? The first one is the climate protection. The second one, especially for plastic waste, that circular economy. And the third one is we are trying our best to build safer and more sustainable material. I think in this presentation, we're going to focus mostly on this circular economy for plastic waste. So globally, I think DAO is doing many things in order to eliminate plastic waste from the environment. So if I'm gonna group this into two groups, we're gonna say that what we're trying to do is, first, we try to stop the waste. And second, we try to close the loop, right? As you can see in the slide, we have many activities to make sure that we move the waste out of the environment. Recycle plastic road is one of the flagship projects that DAO is having all around the world, not only in Vietnam. We have one project in Vietnam that I will show you in the next slide, right? Also, we're trying our best to promote circular economy projects, not only in Vietnam as well, also in other countries all around the world. We also trying to increase impact through partnership. So DAO is one of the founding member of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. We also the founding investor of the Circulate Capital to solve problem on ocean plastic waste. And in Vietnam, we also one of the founding member for the first public-private collaboration together with Unilever and also ACG. In terms of technology, right, on the right-hand side of the slide, right, Dow is trying our best to deliver the best in class circular economy solution. Recently, we announced the cooperation with the Phoenix Ecology, right, in order to supply new feedstock for us to make plastic resin. So unlike some other kind of the products, this one we actually convert the plastic waste and turn that into the very basic form in order to reproduce the plastic resin from that basic form again. And this plastic resin can be good for any kind of application. Also, we are working really hard, and this is one of the example with Kellogg, actually to produce the very first fully recyclable stand-up pouch, which has acceptable barrier property. When we talk about packaging, it's actually not that difficult to produce stand-up pouch with 100% recyclability. But we also need to make sure that that stand-up pouch gonna have good enough barrier property as well. So this is the overall of the thing that we are doing in the world, right? But let me move into next slide and zoom in what Dow Vietnam is doing in Vietnam. The slide that you see here is the first recycled plastic road project in Vietnam, and we have this project done, I think, since year 2020. Basically, we are working with Urenco in Hải Phòng, trying to actually make use of the waste that being sitting over there in the landfill site, right? And we're working with the Deep Sea Industrial Park in Hải Phòng as well, in order to blend that plastic waste and then build a plastic road, right? This project was really successful because we was be able to replace 8 to 10% of bitumen with plastic waste. And then we end up with a road that being stronger, right? We actually have we are working also with the University of Maritime, right? In order to inspect the road. And then the laboratory result actually show that we get a better road. And also we can manage the waste at the same time. If you ask us why we want to continue with this project or why we want to start this project, is that if you look at the waste in the photo here, all of those are low value plastic waste that being so difficult to manage, really difficult to recycle. And this plastic road project is one of the projects that prove that we have a good outlet for this kind of really difficult to manage waste. Dow is also taking another further step. After this, we are working with our colleague in Indonesia, also in Thailand, trying to launch a regional project in order to build up some sort of national standard for plastic road. It will take time, but Dow is doing something on top of this study in order to expand the scope of the project. Next, as you see in the previous slide, I mentioned about we want to promote circular economy projects, right? Dow is having one project being implemented in Hon Khien district in Hanoi at the moment. Also, we are about to kick off a new project in Mekong Delta. These two projects share similar thing. We focus on low value plastic waste, and we focus to make sure that we create a small value chain for low value and hard to recycle plastic waste, and make sure that at the end, someone will turn that to be useful application. I'm sorry that the photo here is quite small, but if you look into the photo, you can see that we start from education, right? We work with the community for them to understand how to segregate the waste. And we also actively involve the recycler. So the recycler actually help us to design education package, because we need to make sure that the waste that will be segregated should be acceptable by the recycler, so that recycler can turn that waste to be other useful application. In this case, it could be brick and tire, right? It could be recycled pallet. So I agree with Mr. Foster's statement that we don't have just one magic project to solve everything. Dow is trying to build small circular economy chain, right? In order to make sure that we have more and more outlet for those plastic waste. This is my last slide, which is still a little bit further away from the current situation in Vietnam, because that involves a lot of infrastructure. So we are talking about the partnership that Dow has with the Phoenix Ecology on pyrolysis technology. So Dow is already having this in Netherlands. So Phoenix Technology will actually manage the plastic waste and then using the pyrolysis process to make naphtha, right? And Dow will make use of that naphtha in our Turnbull site to produce new plastic resin again. Again, this is advanced technology that Dow is having on the global basis. And what we are trying to do here in Vietnam is that we try to take a look at the readiness of the infrastructure, try to move in technology that we think suitable for Vietnam at the moment, and at the same time trying our best to leverage something that we can leverage in. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn ngài giám đốc Dow. Như chúng ta cũng đã biết, công ty Dow thì bên cạnh là một cái công ty lớn trong sản xuất hóa chất, thuốc trừ sâu, thuốc diệt cỏ, và hiện nay
pesticides and chemicals, they're having a big investments on infrastructure for the global recycle, the disposable or recyclable packages. And I hope that after today's workshop, we'll have more opportunities on the technologies that the Dow has been implementing in the marine and plastic waste recycle. We're impressed with your activities in Hoan Kiem districts and the upcoming projects in Kanto. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Hideki Wada, the director of the Vietnam Plastic Waste Planning Company. So up to now, we have nearly 250 representatives audience joining today's event. Mr. Hideki Wada, the stage is yours.
I'm a consultant on solid waste management and recycling based in Hanoi. I opened these two companies in 1918 and 2020, respectively. I wanted to contribute to improve the solid waste management of Vietnam. Even I'm Japanese. Today, by the way, today it is a great honor for me to speak on an aspect of EPR policy, focusing on industrial sector's participation in solid waste management and recycling. As first, I would like to start to share with you the general concept of EPR. As you know, EPR is a policy instrument to oblige producers to collect and recycle the post-consumer waste. As we experienced in Japan, producers under the EPR policy, producers to try to reduce their amount of packages to avoid the cost bearing to recycle to collect and recycle their post-consumer waste. That's the one thing to happen in Japan and in other countries who introduced EPR. And second one was secondary, the change of package and design of the products happened. Also, in order to avoid the cost bearing. Today, I would like to focus on other aspects of EPR. Actually, we can share so far up to now, the solid waste management was separately done for domestic waste and industrial waste. But under the EPR policy introduction, the industrial sector will be obliged to collect and recycle their post-consumer waste, even generated from households. It means industrial sector will start to touch the domestic waste from including collection and recycle them. And the industries may have the very advanced recycling technology capacity. So this kind of capacity will be used to collect and recycle their waste, even domestic waste, as well as industrial waste. Here, we can share the co-treatment of domestic waste and industrial waste will be started by the effort from industrial sector and the EPR policy. And one of the most highlighted point is these would be done with enough cost consciousness. It means they don't like high cost recycling, so that they should reach the break-even point of each systems of recycling. Actually, in the second slide, I would like to explain the advantages of technical advantage of industrial sectors. I have 40-year experience in this field, but I sometimes consider why industrial sector joined in the solid waste management, because domestic waste is managed by public sector in any countries. But as we can, maybe we can share cement industry and electricity industry may have a very high advantage to treat the domestic waste by using waste to energy technology, which you are now very keen interest to realize this WTE facility started from Kanto City and Pakning province in the next term. And also food processing industry may have a very high opportunity to cultivate their vegetable by using the heat recovered from incinerators as far as the cultivation farm, agriculture farm is located next to the incinerator, waste to energy incineration. Such kind of mixed portfolio in the several different industries will bring us a very profitable businesses. And also steel industry is famous for its high technology capacity to recycle plastic by using their present existing blast furnaces. It's very high, as same as cement factory. Cement factory can use their cement kiln to recycle their plastic, to recycle plastics as well as domestic waste and industrial waste. And Dow mentioned the advantage of the highly advanced plastic recycling by using their pyrolysis technology. Actually, chemical industry has such kind of very high advantage in plastic recycling. And the smelting industry, e-product industry may have advantage in recycling e-waste. And assembly factory is now generating a lot of packaging of plastic. So it would be recycled after that, together with domestic waste, even though these are the industrial waste. So I want to emphasize the advantage of the industrial sector in recycling under EPR policy. But when I talk with industries has no confidence whether they can collect enough amount of recyclables for their future facility of recycling. So it is my personal opinion or proposal. Why not why not collaborate with the conventional recyclers? Because in my understanding, Vietnam is one of the most important country which uses the recyclers at a high rate. Our friend Donut waste pickers are collecting in town, focusing on their targeted recyclables such as PET bottles, not only PET bottles, steel and glass and other plastics such as polystyrene or others. So some speakers addressed the importance of the source segregation, but we have to, in my understanding, in my opinion, we can start from those recyclables collected already. And after that, in order to make the project financially sustainable, to get enough amount of recyclables. So I use the word of collaboration, but it is very easy to, in my understanding, it is very easy to collect enough amount of recyclables because the conventional recyclers behaves by considering only what is called the price signals. By other simple words, if industries can show the higher price than the present market price, recyclables can be collected very easily. Of course, if you are not satisfied by the low quality of the recyclables collected as of now, then you can show the condition to buy with higher price. Okay, more clean, then I will buy higher price. Then even the quality of the recyclables can be controlled very easily. Okay, I'm finishing my presentation by addressing the high cost of recycling system in Japan. We developed very high advanced sophisticated integrated recycling collection system through the public sector's efforts. All municipality is now collecting not only domestic waste, but also recyclables by using the tax income. It's surprisingly high, as you already know. So here we just bit regret why we didn't collaborate with the industries to collect and conventional recyclers and yes, like that. So when we discuss the source segregation under the management of city and the provinces, we have to discuss this point more carefully. Okay, these are my conclusion. First, EPR is a key impact to make industries participate in solid waste management. It is very exciting for me because their technical capacity would be used fully compared with other investors of the WTE. They are just urban development company or provinces has no experience to use a WTE and other plastic recycling. Second, higher level management by industries are expected because industry has technical advantages in many aspects of recycling and solid waste management. And third, we can start to collaborate with conventional recyclers by controlling the price to be shown to conventional recyclers. But we have to consider, we have to discuss in future how to raise the quality of recyclers. Thank you very much.
Xin cảm ơn ông Hideki Wada.
Thank you, Hideki Wada-san. Your question is very interesting. So the waste from the factories on the domestic waste, I'm confused. I ponder, can't help but ponder. Who will be in charge of segregating, classifying waste in my family? My kids have their own waste. I have my own waste. The first time I've been to Japan in 1996, I'm very impressive with the Japanese segregation. I think that the Vietnam segregation system is still unadvanced. So I hope all for the best for the Vietnamese system. So from today's presentations, we have 5 presentations, and these 5 speakers will answer the comments. Yeah, we have many interesting questions. Could be questions that we're unable to answer today, but I'm sure that the speaker will keep contact with the organizers so that they can answer the fullest question. So, may I ask for the representative of the authority in VASI headquarters today? Yeah, representative of ERIA.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hong.
Representatives.
Yeah, thank you. Right now we are moving to the question and answer session, and we have approximately 30 minutes for this session. And again, this session will be led by Dr. Hong. So Dr. Hong, please go ahead to take all the questions and direct them to our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you. Dạ, xin mời các đại diện có mặt hôm nay ạ.
Audience in VASI headquarters, please. Any question for the speakers? Representative of Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam. Mr. Trường. Hi. Thùy Mai from Ministry of Industry and Trade. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thùy Mai from the Ministry of Industry and Trade. I'd like to have a few feedback. In order to reduce plastic waste, we have issued some activities to support the movement. We have a decree number 8 on the increasing promotions of plastic waste reduction. We have assigned number of units to, and in the future, we'll start on piloting green point sustainable production and use search on the industrial clusters, which is friendly to the environment. We have focused on the material support the producers It's an alternative to the persistent plastic bag to avoid disposable plastic bag or package. And on EPR, I would like to have the following points. The decree number 8 of 2022, we have a statement on the National EPR Council, but still have no information on the implementations and activities. Working conditions of these will cause difficulties. The EPR policy has been since the beginning of this year. With all these difficulties on the functions and activities, there shall be difficulties. Secondly, speaking on the Environmental Protection Fund and the producer responsibilities, if the producer fail to self-recycle, they shall make contribution to the fund. So then the fund will be in charge of recycle. Current functions and mechanisms of the fund on recycling is still not clear. We are not clear of the fund activities and how will the sanctions be implemented. Thirdly, since the beginning of this year, the recycling responsibility for producers of gum, if they are unable to recycle, they have to pay to the Environmental Protection Fund product this year. Have 4 months to prepare. First quarter of the year. It's kind of difficult to create the resources or budget for pay for the producers. Another thing is, most use products collection. The collection is still sparsely, not uniform. So it's very difficult for the producer to collect their own products. So I think it is time for regulations or establishment of system to collection of products. If these can be solved, then many procedures will be saved and the efficiency will increase. Those were our feedbacks. Thank you. Thank you, Mai. Of environmental and safety in industrial procedure. Mr. T, any comment? Thank you, Ms. Mai. Points. We're dealing with this on the council or the office of the council. So the deadline for payment in April is coming. According to the law on environmental protection, the fund, Environmental Protection Fund, is still in charge of the payment. They've been doing very well. A number of enterprises and business have been contacting the fund. So the council is regulated to be comprised of a number of members. MONRE have been collecting opinions from departments, establishment, and the list of council members. Into the ministries and businesses, the government doesn't want any more departments. So we have to take stuff from other departments. So you see, the payment we receive will be used to pay for the employer and employee of the council. And the principle of the fund, collecting opinions, regulations, so as to be as clear as possible. How to support, to control the, as you said, the small waste, that there has been no regulation. Actually, the producer have 3 choices: to recycle themselves, secondly, to hire someone, signing the PRO, whereas they could have the largest sum of recycle. Admit that Vietnam recycle is still very limited. Even EPR has been for 15 years. We need those to promote the recycle in Vietnam. And we have regulations, the more is the more payment. Organic waste is not subject to payment. Only a certain type of package or waste is subject to payment. So EPR is going to support localities on this to promote management. These are our options. Cannot wait. Of Vietnamese EPR. Thank you, Mr. T. Any other question?
Xin mời bạn Thanh.
Em chào tất cả các anh chị trong
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from LX International from Korea. I'm pleased to attend today's event, and throughout your presentation, I have 2 questions. First of all, in order to reduce the impacts of waste to the environment, I think there are 2 activities. First is increase the recycle rate of plastic waste. As my working experience, the world has a very high requirements. If there is a demand and the producer will be subject to a very high price. So I would like to know if the Vietnam has any regulations on increasing the rate. And secondly, cycle products have certain standards. So is there any standard for recycled products in Vietnam, just like the world? Second question. To reduce the impacts of the waste to the environment, the producer could strive to alternative, green or eco-friendly products. So as I understand, the disposable plastic bag allow the disposable in the disposable plastic bag. Have researching other biodegradable products. We have a roadmap, the implementation or adaptation of these. Oh, yes. So I think you have two questions. The first is the input standards of plastic. And the second question is the green products alternative. Any roadmap for this alternative? I think it's a very detailed question. I can provide you an interesting question. In order to promote the recycling products, we need to have a recycling market. So since 2020, MONRE has proposed to the PM on the regulations of the increasing of recycling rate. MONRE has proposed the Ministry of Industry and Trade search and issue the regulations, technical standards on the plastic that is good enough for recycle and the rates of recycle plastic and guidance on sustainable plastic use. These you have asked, and we have proposed the Ministry of Industry and Trade to have guidance on this. And for the biodegradable plastic, the law on environment protection only incentivize the use of those plastic. We ban the disposable, the non-degradable plastic. Till the year of 2030, there shall be no use of disposable plastic bag. And ANFAT is one of the pioneers in this field. This is a great opportunity for us for economy development as well as environmental protection. Thank you, Mr. T. It's crucial, as you have mentioned, according to law on environmental protection, to 2030, Vietnam will not. Can you elaborate? Okay. Another question?
Trong đó có một số câu hỏi tôi sẽ xin phép nói qua. Có một cái câu hỏi là có một số các cái tổ chức quốc tế thì họ cũng sẵn sàng.
NGOs are ready to support financially Vietnam on EPR implementation. Also work it out after this. The second one is in from the DAO Vietnam. We're caring about the technology of audience on the technology. We'd like to receive and and exchange on this technology. Is anyone from DAO available to answer this question?
Yeah, I think the question is about technology that we just presented during the presentation, right? Is that the
Vâng, đúng rồi
question?
ạ. Tức là cái công nghệ, kể cả hôm nay có thể anh chưa trình bày sâu, nhưng mà những cái công nghệ mà hiện nay DAO đang ứng dụng.
The technologies that DAO has been using on the recycling and reusing of plastic products. Can you share about it? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Actually, there are two types. If I want to group that into simple group, right? One is what we call mechanical recycling. Mechanical recycling is that actually we take waste, right, and then we actually mix it together with the virgin plastic, right, and then we can come up with something else, right? Or we can just shred the waste and then melt it again and then turn that to be some other application. That is the first group, mechanical recycling. Another group we call chemical recycling. The pyrolysis that I show in the presentation that belong to the chemical recycling. That's more advanced technology, right? In Vietnam, the project that DAO is implementing and also the one that we are working with the stakeholder here focus mostly on mechanical recycling. Because when we're talking about chemical recycling, that's actually, we need a really big infrastructure to make it work. I think it's fair to say that now is still quite at a very early stage for Vietnam for chemical recycling at the moment. But anyway, back to the mechanical recycling. As I mentioned, this can be a way that we take the waste from the household, or we take the waste from the dump site, and then we need to have a process to make sure that we clean it, we segregate it, and then recycle it to some other application. As I mentioned, it can be road, it can be brick, it can be mortar, right? It can be tire, right? Another one way is that DAO also promoting what we call PCR resin, post-consumer resin, post-consumer recycling resin, meaning we blend 40% of the waste with 60% of virgin plastic, right? And then we come up with a product. So any consumer that make use of that product, or consume that product, they can say that they actually consume 40% of the plastic waste already. So that's the product that DAO is launching globally for quite some time, and we are developing with some of the customer here in Vietnam as well. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thật ra thì ở trong cái dự án mà do Ngân hàng Phát triển Châu Á,
actually in a projects of ADB, as I've mentioned before, there was a component on the technologies focusing in the segregation. But VASI in the coming time shall be able to call experts and companies. Recycling or reusing. Thank you. Some other questions on managing or reducing marine or plastic debris. Anyone from the authority? Mai? Can Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Trường for Ministry of Industry and Trade. So I've heard some questions from the experts and the business. So I've heard about the standard of the recycled plastic product or the policies to bring them into the market. There are questions on the responsibility of supermarket or mall. It's like MONRE have mentioned, in order to implement the promotions of plastic waste management in Vietnam, the PM has assigned the ministries with the Ministry of Industry and Trade to rely to the producers. New regulations on the recycled plastic waste. So this is something new, and we've been planning on this. Any now implementation, we look forward to your cooperations, producers, sponsors. We need international experience. So products to meet with international standards and Vietnamese condition. On the second one, the PM has assigned our ministry to emphasize the mall or supermarket to reduce plastic waste. Some supermarket, such as Vinmart, Vietnam, they independently, yes, this activity to reduce plastic bag. You coming to the supermarket, you see changes. Let's ask if you really need a plastic bag. In joining in this, Ministry of Industry and Trade will promote this in the supermarkets and markets. Thirdly, as the policy products with a high plastic recycle rates, we've been building producers a company in the field of plastic recycle, and we look forward to your support in the development partners or companies or from as Mr. Hideki Waka. That's our point. Thank you.
Cảm ơn anh Trương Việt Trường đúng không?
Thank you, Mr. Trường.
Câu hỏi từ phía
There's a question from
ông Wada trả lời, đó là có cái câu về liên quan đến cái địa điểm tập kết
the locations of the waste assembly point.
địa điểm mà gọi là tạm thời tập kết rác.
Containers waste assembly, such as in Indonesia. We have a point called Ban Bang Gai Ban.
Có những cái yêu cầu về vấn đề ảnh hưởng, kiểm soát những cái điểm đó để giảm thiểu ảnh hưởng đối với môi trường.
Control to the people and the environment. So you have any, can you share any regulations and any standards of the waste assembly point? Thank you.
Và các điểm trung chuyển, ví dụ như tái chế nữa, các cái điểm
A question from Indonesia, right? Yes, I have some experience working in Indonesia, and I know something about the TPS, temporary storage. Yes, but for that question, I have no solution so far, because yes, we can share the pollution around the TPS. The situation is very similar in even in Hanoi and other cities where the waste, what is called waste bin or waste container, to which residents can discard their waste at any time. At any time. Regarding this point, I will explain one experience of Japan. When we eager to introduce a highly advanced source separation program in Japan, the waste bin, waste container, what we call it dust box in Japan. Dust box interfere the introduction of source separation because it is too convenient for residents. They can discard anytime. So nobody who will separate their recyclable. And if they don't like to separate because it's very annoying even for Japanese, they put waste with recyclables, no separation, into the dust box, just hiding the waste in the waste box, waste bin. Nobody at the night, nobody can observe. So in those municipalities which use the dust box, stop, cancel using those kind of dust box, waste bin, waste container to discard. Instead, we introduced the source separation program upon the day of the week, as already you may know. But I want to address the difficulty to cancel those waste bin because residents there opposed very much, because it's very convenient and they are very familiar to discard by using that kind of bin. Okay, coming back to Vietnam, you are now discussing how to introduce a source separation with volume-based charging system by introducing the specific waste bag to discharge. Here, you have to discuss how to manage your waste bin and waste container. That is happening in Vietnam, Indonesian friend. Thank you very much.
Xin cảm ơn ông Wada. Tôi còn một cái câu hỏi cuối cùng cũng rất là hay. Đó là câu hỏi này thì liên quan đến dán nhãn cho các cái sản phẩm sinh học. Thì không biết là ai có thể giúp trả lời câu này được ạ? Bên phía Pro có thể giúp trả lời câu hỏi này được không ạ? Có ai đại diện của bên Pro còn đang tham gia trực tuyến không ạ? Hoặc là các cái diễn giả có thể giúp trả lời cái câu hỏi liên quan đến vấn đề dán nhãn sinh thái.
Vâng, xin mời anh Thi ạ. Cung cấp một số thông tin như này. Tức là luật bảo vệ môi trường nghị định 08 đã quy định rất rõ về cái việc dán nhãn sinh thái. Thì nhãn sinh thái này là do doanh nghiệp, là do Bộ Tài nguyên Môi trường sẽ thực hiện cái việc cung cấp cái nhãn cho phép dán nhãn sinh thái để chứng nhận cái việc sản phẩm thân thiện với môi trường. Và thì đối với cái quá trình này, đối với cái việc sản phẩm này đáp ứng được cái yêu cầu bảo vệ môi trường cũng như là và thân thiện với môi trường thì sẽ được cấp cái việc dán nhãn đó. Thì không biết là cái câu hỏi này thì hỏi về thủ tục hay là điều kiện hay là
thông tin chung, thông tin chung về vấn đề này.
Vâng, thì Bộ Tài nguyên Môi trường sẽ là cái cơ quan chủ trì thực hiện và sẽ cấp cái nhãn sinh thái cho các cái sản phẩm rồi dán vào đó.
Xin cảm ơn anh Thi. Có lẽ vai trò của tôi đến đây thì là đã hoàn thành rồi đấy ạ. Tiếp theo sau đây là tôi xin trân trọng kính mời đại diện của Viện Nghiên cứu Kinh tế Đông Nam Á và Đông Á sẽ có cái phần giới thiệu về cái nền tảng khu vực tư nhân và sau đó là có cái bài phát biểu bế mạc. Tôi xin trân trọng kính mời bà Ellen Putri Edita.
Thank you, Dr. Hang, for leading the session of Q&A and also leading the panel discussion. Very interesting points from the context of EPR in Vietnam. And thank you so much for all our listeners today for sharing your questions, and for the panelists, thank you so much for the great discussion in this session. Now allow me to ask the panelists if there are several questions that are left in the question and answer box, so you can answer you can answer the questions there directly, because we have limited time. And now please allow me to briefly explain about the online platform of RKC-MPD. If you notice, before this event started, we played the video, so I will briefly explain about the online platform that are shown in that video. Before going to explain the platform, I will briefly explain about the RKC-MPD itself. So the RKC-MPD, or Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris, is a unit under Research Department of ERIA, and it has the main goal to support ASEAN plus 3 countries to tackle marine plastic debris. And our goal are to make regional network and awareness raising, as well as promotion of innovative action, and we want to also facilitate the national and regional cooperation. And so far, we have been working with a lot of stakeholders out there, including governments, research institutes, academia, international organizations, NGOs, and private sectors. So for the private sector, yes, we just launched last year an online platform for the private sector named Private Sector Initiatives to Reduce Plastic Waste and Marine Plastic Debris. The general aim of this online platform is to highlight and promote private companies that contribute to the reduction of plastic waste and marine plastic in this region. So if your company has the goal to reduce marine plastics, and your company is operating in ASEAN plus 3 region, then your company is eligible to join our platform. If you can see here, this is the look of the online platform. So you can just click sign up and fill out the online form, and then your stories will be shared in our website. And what will be the benefit for the private companies that join our platform? So the first one is they can be better known to the potential customers within this region, and they can find potential B2B or B2C opportunities, and they can make their company sustainability efforts known to the public. And last but not least, they can attract potential investors to expand their business. Yeah, so we welcome you to join the platform. Please go to rkc-mpd-area.org/story. And right now we have 59 published stories have been shared in our platform. They are coming from 6 different countries, including Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Singapore. And for Vietnam itself, we already have 12 stories shared in our website. So the first one is from Babio Green Technology, where they do the reduction effort by producing biodegradable resin. And we have another example from Lide Refill Stations, where they provide a box store that doesn't provide a single-use plastic packaging. Yeah, that's it from me. So please contact us at marineplastic@area.org and follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you. And now we are, before we close our event, I would like to invite all the participants to fill in the survey. So this survey will help us to enhance our insights in the about the marine plastic issue, and also we want the participant to help us to improve the quality of our next events. So please scan the barcode in the screen that you can see just now. And from the link of the survey, you can also get your e-certificate if you are interested to get one. So please go ahead to go to this link and fill out the survey. Please do not forget also to follow our social media accounts to get the updates about our activities, publication, and interesting information about marine plastics. We are on LinkedIn and Facebook, Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris, and we are also in Twitter and Instagram at RKC-MPD_area. Thank you so much for all the panelists, and on behalf of ERIA and VASI, we would like again to thank all of you for your active participation, and we would like to thank all the speakers for your time. And I hope that we can learn a lot from this event, especially about the context of extended producer responsibility. To close our forum this morning, I kindly invite Kojima-san from ERIA to deliver his closing remarks, as well as to close the event. Kojima-san, over to you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of organizers, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you. The presentation from the panelists and the Q&A session provided informative explanation on the overall direction that the EPR system in Vietnam is pursuing. It was with pleasure that we learned the efforts already undertaken to prepare an effective implementation of EPR system in Vietnam involving the private sectors. I highly appreciate the preparation to introduce separation at source, as well as to promote inter-provincial and inter-regional collaboration, a system to welcome producer responsibility organization is also already established to support private companies in the collection and safe disposal of plastic waste. Various technological options are also tested and discussed, such as asphalt for road construction presented by Dow, and various industries mentioned by Dr. Wada. One of the challenges I took note in this event is the future relationship between recycling and biodegradable plastics. As presented from UNFAT Holdings, biodegradable plastics are not suitable for recycling. So government should carefully consider the policies related to the production and use of biodegradable plastics going forward. For example, capsules for slow release fertilizer in agriculture or plastic film used in agriculture sectors should be made from biodegradable plastics because capsule or film for agriculture production can easily leak into the environment. It is important to identify target items for biodegradable plastics and to impose mandatory use of certain products, while actively favoring recycling plastics for other products in order to encourage recovery and circularity. The lessons learned and insights gained in this webinar are very useful for not only for Vietnamese audience, but also for all countries preparing to introduce the EPR system in the region, such as Philippines, Malaysia, and other countries. I'd like to express my gratitude to all speakers and partner organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting. See you next time.